Hello everyone, today we are going to be talking about the new cast updates for House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel. We learned about 3 new castings for lead roles. Matt Smith will play the role of Prince Daemon Targaryen. You may know Matt from Doctor Who and The Crown. HBO on their sites gives brief descriptions of each character. I will go into further detail later in the video, but for now I'll read them off once I get to each character. Prince Daemon Targaryen is the younger brother of King Viserys I and the heir to the throne. Daemon is a peerless warrior and a dragon rider who possesses the true blood of the dragon, but it is said that whenever a Targaryen is born, the gods toss a coin in the air. Olivia Cooke will play the role of Alicent Hightower. You may know her from Ready Player One. Alicent Hightower is the daughter of Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, and the most comely woman in the Seven Kingdoms. She was raised in the Red Keep, close to the king and his innermost circle. She possesses both a courtly grace and a keen political acumen. Emma Darcy will play the role of Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. You may recognize her from Truth Seekers or Hannah, which are both on Amazon Prime. Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen is the king's firstborn child. She is of pure Valyrian blood and she is a dragon rider. Many would say that Rhaenyra was born with everything, but she was not born a man. I have heard great things about Matt, especially his performance in The Crown. The other two, I don't know a lot about them. I have seen Truth Seekers with Emma, but that's a comedy about ghosts, so it's a little different, but she's great in it, so. There has been some grumblings and people complaining on Twitter about some of the cast. To that I say HBO deserves the benefit of the doubt. They are the masters of casting TV shows. They know what they're doing. Look at Game of Thrones. You can say what you want about Season 8, but the cast was great. The writing, not so much. My point is, let's not judge until we see them in their roles, because it is really unfair to the actors and actresses. So let's go into further detail with each character and how they are linked to one another. Viserys Targaryen, played by Peter Considine, is the king of the Seven Kingdoms at this point. Daemon Targaryen is his younger brother and heir, as stated before. Daemon is known as the Rogue Prince for some of his less than desirable behavior. It was said that in his youth, his face was familiar to every cut-purse whore and gambler in Fleabottom. He is one of the most skilled and experienced warriors in the Seven Kingdoms at this time. He wields Stark's sister, one of the famed Valyrian steel blades of House Targaryen. Daemon is also a dragon rider. His mount is Caraxes, which will be the second biggest dragon we will see in the show, Vhagar being the biggest. Archmaster Gildane described Daemon as being as charming as he was hot-tempered, which seems to be a common thing with the Targaryens. History knows him as being dashing, daring, and dangerous, also as ambitious, impetuous, mercurial, immoral, reckless, and quick to take offense. Rhaenyra Targaryen is King Viserys' firstborn child with his first wife, Aemma Arryn, who was part Targaryen from her mother's side. Aemma had many miscarriages throughout her marriage to the king. Rhaenyra is the only child who lived. Aemma would later die during childbirth. The babe would die a couple of days later. After the death of Aemma Arryn, King Viserys declared that Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen would be the heir to the Iron Throne. Rhaenyra, 8 at the time, would then become her father's cupbearer. Viserys and Rhaenyra were seldom seen without each other after this point. What Viserys really did was bring her under his wing and showed her what it was to rule the Seven Kingdoms. She attended him at all the small council meetings at court and at tourneys, giving her valuable experience. Rhaenyra was also a dragon rider. Her mount was Syrax, named after a goddess of Valyria. Syrax had no previous riders, Rhaenyra being the first to ride. Rhaenyra was described as being proud and stubborn, and like her uncle, she was quick to anger and never forgot a slight. She was also described to be quite charming, and her uncle Daemon Targaryen said she was the most beautiful maiden in the Seven Kingdoms. After the death of her mother, her father, King Viserys, would then remarry a year later. Rhaenyra resented her slightly older stepmother, who was Alicent Hightower. Her father was Otto Hightower, as stated before, who was the hand of the king. Alicent pretty much grew up in the Red Keep, arriving there when she was 13, so she has a lot of experience in court and what comes with it. Many believe Otto Hightower played a major role in getting King Viserys to marry his daughter. The small council was not happy with King Viserys' choice because of the rumors circulating of Alicent's unvirtuous behavior. These rumors were never proven, but were still quite damning. One was of Alicent giving up her maidenhead to Prince Daemon Targaryen, which gave an explanation to why her father hated Daemon so much. Another was that Alicent was sleeping with Viserys before his first wife Aemma died. And the other rumor was that she was sleeping with King Jaehaerys, the king before Viserys and also his grandfather. Alicent was an aide to Jaehaerys during his later years until he died. But nevertheless, King Viserys wed her and she became queen. Alicent was known for her cleverness and ambition. She was known for having a mind for politics. Many also remarked how lovely she was. Alicent and Viserys had 4 children, Aegon, Helaena, Aemond, and Daemon, which comes to the main crux of what starts the Dance of the Dragons. Depending on when they start season 1, most of what I've said should happen before the actual show begins. It's pretty much backstory and lore. I was able to conclude this from the actors and actresses' ages, but I could be way off. So now this is heavy spoilers for the show, so if you don't want to know, I would stop watching. So in 129 AC, King Viserys dies. I'm gonna say this probably happens at the end of season 1. It will be like when Robert Baratheon dies in Game of Thrones, setting everything in motion to see who will sit on the Iron Throne. Even though Alicent did bore him a son, Viserys insisted that Rhaenyra would still be his heir, which made Alicent very upset. When the king died, Alicent and her family were at King's Landing. Rhaenyra and her family were at Dragonstone. Alicent learned of the death first and took the opportunity to name her firstborn son Aegon king. Some people at court protested, wanting to fulfill the late King Viserys' wish of having Rhaenyra rule. But those people either ended up dead or thrown into the black cells. Alicent had the backing of the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard and the Hand of the King, Otto Hightower, her father. Once Rhaenyra heard of her father's death and how they had crowned her half-brother Aegon king, she immediately had a coronation herself, and her uncle Daemon then crowned her Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. And that is when the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War, truly begun. There is a lot more info I could go over, other characters who will be involved, more backstory, so if you're interested in that, leave a comment and let me know. I will make more videos on the prequel then. Subscribe to the channel for more Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Witcher content. Check out my Twitter as well, link in the description below. And as always, have an awesome day.